There exists a place where darkness engulfs everything, where law is but a farce and human life is disposable. A place where every decision can cost dozens of innocent lives, and those in charge are ruthless monsters with no boundaries. This is the world of the Mexican drug cartels. Among all the most feared names, only one cartel holds supreme power, the Sinaloa Cartel. Have you ever wondered what made them the most infamous criminal empire in the world? Join us as we explore the brutal rise of this cartel in today's video. Sinaloa, an unremarkable region in Mexico, yet it became the birthplace of one of the most terrifying drug empires. In the 1980s, this was a place of poverty, where people lived off agriculture. However, beneath the surface, a different world was forming. During this time, drug production and trafficking began to grow into an underground industry, leading to the emergence of the Sinaloa Cartel. This was no ordinary criminal organization. It quickly expanded, not only in terms of members but also in its powerful connections. Reports indicate that by the late 1980s, Sinaloa had established itself as a major hub for drug trafficking. Initially, the Sinaloa Cartel was just one of many criminal groups vying for profit in the drug trade. But what set them apart was their close ties with corrupt government officials and police. They weren't just ordinary smugglers. They turned the drug trade into a global business. Their connections allowed them to operate with a level of impunity that few could match. Investigations revealed that these relationships helped the cartel evade law enforcement and maintain control over critical trafficking routes. In 1989, a figure emerged who would completely change the game, Joaquín Guzmán, better known as El Chapo. El Chapo was no ordinary drug trafficker. He was a criminal strategist who understood the inner workings of the underworld and quickly elevated the Sinaloa Cartel to the top. In the 1990s, under his leadership, the cartel expanded beyond Mexico's borders, becoming a global criminal network. Drug shipments from South America were funneled through Mexico, then onto the US and across Europe. By the mid-1990s, El Chapo had transformed the cartel into a formidable entity, controlling vast swaths of the drug trade. It wasn't just cocaine. The Sinaloa Cartel dominated the methamphetamine, heroin, and other drug markets. From secret factories to massive shipments crossing oceans, the Sinaloa Cartel controlled the entire supply chain of the global drug market. They innovated production methods and developed new trafficking routes, making them a significant player on the international stage. According to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, they became the primary source of heroin in the United States by the early 2000s. However, as their power grew, the Sinaloa Cartel also became a primary target for the government. Police and military forces carried out numerous raids, and El Chapo was arrested multiple times. But no prison could hold him for long. In 2001, El Chapo made his first escape by sneaking out of a Mexican prison in a laundry cart. However, his most famous escape took place in 2015. In a single night, he escaped from Altiplano prison through an underground tunnel over 1.5 kilometers long. This tunnel wasn't just a technical marvel. It was a testament to the power and influence of the Sinaloa Cartel. From that moment, El Chapo became a global symbol of audacious escapes and defiance of the law. But the price Mexico paid for the power of the Sinaloa Cartel was immense. Many towns and cities were turned into bloody battlegrounds between rival gangs. The death toll from drug-related violence continued to rise, and the economy suffered deeply. Thousands of innocent civilians were drawn into this war, forced to live in constant fear, with many fleeing their homes in search of safety. The violence spilled over into everyday life, with families torn apart and communities devastated. Nonprofit organizations reported significant increases in displacement and psychological trauma among those affected. Sinaloa's story is not just about drugs, it's about the people who lost everything to violence and corruption. Cartels like Sinaloa have turned fear into their weapon, and the chaos they've created has plunged an entire nation into darkness. In 2016, Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán was finally captured and extradited to the U.S., where he faced numerous charges related to drug trafficking, murder, and corruption. His fate was life imprisonment in one of the world's most secure prisons. Many believed that his downfall would mark the end of the Sinaloa Cartel empire. However, the reality is much more complex. Ismael El Mayo Zambada, co-founder of the Sinaloa Cartel and a shadowy figure in its leadership, continued to run the organization in coordination with El Chapo's family members. The cartel's future showed no signs of collapse. In fact, this gang still controls a large portion of the global drug market, maintaining power by adapting strategies, employing more sophisticated concealment methods, and continuing to expand their international network. The Sinaloa Cartel is not just a problem for Mexico. Its activities have global repercussions, affecting countries from the US and Canada to Europe and Asia. Tons of drugs are trafficked each year, and every day, thousands around the world face the brutality of the drug war. Nations are striving to intervene, but will it be enough to completely extinguish the power of the Sinaloa Cartel? The rise of new criminal organizations in various regions suggests that the fight against such entities is far from over. From international cooperation efforts to enhanced border security, countries continue to fight against the Sinaloa Cartel and similar organizations. But as long as there is demand for drugs, cartels will persist and evolve. This is not just a national issue, it is a global crisis. Governments are trying to develop creative solutions to tackle this issue, from public education campaigns about the dangers of drugs to implementing economic development strategies in vulnerable areas to lessen the appeal of crime. Some nations have even turned to alternative approaches, such as decriminalization, in hopes of reducing the power of drug cartels. The Sinaloa Cartel, from a small criminal organization in Mexico, it has grown into the largest criminal empire in the world. Its brutality, ambition, and power have haunted not just Mexico, but have spread globally. The fight against drug cartels is far from over, and only time will tell if anyone can truly defeat them. One thing is certain, the story of the Sinaloa Cartel will continue, and the world will have to confront the threats they leave behind. The lessons learned from this ongoing battle may be crucial for other countries as they face similar challenges in the future. While the war against drug-related crime is a long and arduous journey, it is undeniable that relentless efforts will help pave the way for a brighter future for generations to come.